All right. Hey, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. It's been a couple rough days on this side of the screen. Hey, life, like the charts, sometimes throws us some red candles, right? And you got to use the supports that you got around you to hold that fall, right? So I am crazy lucky to have my wife. I am really, really grateful to have my parents. And man, in so many ways, I'm glad to have this and you guys and be able to like do this right now. So I'm a little behind on replies. I don't know how well I'll reply on this one, but yeah, getting a lot closer to normal. All right. So we're going to talk about three here. This one, the first one, NVOS, I'm going to talk about it more. But look, I hope you made good money. All right, there's no question about that. Whether it's on this day that got a little more than 20%. Hey, even today it's an ugly candle, but dude, even this one was 13%, right? Like I hope you made some money, but in my honest opinion, you can't let an outlier mess up a really, really good trading strategy, which I'm hope you're building, right? So we'll talk about that. But yeah, end of the day, I don't like a reverse split, all right? And two green candles doesn't make me believe that anything is different, right? So that's what I'm going to be talking about. But yeah, we'll talk about the potentials of what tomorrow can bring, in all honesty, because there could still be some movement here, all right? AVTX, man, I don't know what that one looks like. I think we're going back to the green, red, which in some ways might be okay, but I really actually need to see what that chart looks like before I get there. And hey, CDI, look, I say this often, I am not the best trader in the Discord, in any of the, even the videos. Like, people comment and I can tell you're better than me. Oh man, on the 2nd of November, right? Just look at that. It was ready to go, and clearly we'll see what happens after that, right? So if you're not in the Discord, do it already. If it, like it's there's some beautiful people in there, even when I wasn't there for the last few days, all right? So before we go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we gonna do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are no lines here, right? Because when the reverse split happens, everything moves up. So I will more than likely draw a couple new ones, but it's probably going to be the moving averages here. But when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad. Hey, anything you can do helps me so much. And again, just being here, letting me do this, and the conversations we have are so cool already. All right, so NVOS. All right, there's a couple things I'm going to talk about even before we get into the immediate. All right, the one thing I want to talk about is this. I'm pretty sure this was the last video I made, was this Friday the 3rd candle. All right, and the biggest thing you hear me say on so many videos, doesn't matter what the ticker is when you get a doji on or near some important lines, the day after is generally very big and very telling. All right. And I, in so many ways, said that this thing was really 50-50, right? Like, I'm not here pretending I've got a crystal ball, right? I'm here trying to establish a goal. And hey, if I'm right, hell yeah, maybe we'll average up and pile on. If I'm wrong, oh man, adjust. That's all it is, right? And like, if you, again, put this in your back pocket, if like a doji is this candle right here, and this is like, I would call this, and I will call this a doji when we get there. Clearly in the middle is a lot more textbook. This one had like some serious lines compared to this one. This one's skinny. Like, this one is as textbook as it gets, right on top of 2 lines, let alone all 5 lines, on some like hints of new. There was so much in this doji. And again, a doji is uncertainty, right? When you look at it, you open at 3, you move only 2 cents down, but during that you run up almost 20%, right? At least 15. You run down another what, 20 per, dude, that one's an actual 20. It came down to 260, 40 cents, a little more than 10. But again, either way, significant movement ups and downs just to end at the same place, right? Like, the uncertainty was crazy. The day after was huge. All right. And the day after was not actually the split. You can see that it actually happened on Tuesday, right? The news is what did it, right? Like once they announced that the other, they did two really bad, again, this is a big example of why I say don't fall in love with a stock. I've seen this so many times, man. They make you believe, they make you just, you're in a place where you're buying these like low things that maybe one day will go high. Like, believe me, I've been there. End of the day, you can't fall in love with four letters. And this is what happens. They gave some good news, right? The original news was basically what I call the justification of the old news, right? Then they hinted a little more. And the hinting a little more obviously made a lot of people really excited. My video was very positive, but I did keep mentioning that trapdoor, the trapdoor, right? And this is why I call a reverse split a trapdoor. Like it happens and you just fall, right? And a 60% loss, right? You can see it up there. It was 59.4. That's monstrous, right? And again, day after the doji, if this was good news, I would have expected maybe a 30% up. That was bad. Now, the interesting thing is the next 2 days, all right? Yesterday and today. Yesterday, especially, because again, I'm looking less at the 23% gain. Like that's an amazing number, don't get me wrong. What actually surprises me, and again, you can see it in the box over there on the left, it's $1.22 open, and then it goes all the way up to $1.50 close. Obviously, it goes a little higher too, right? But just the day alone and the candle alone, more people actually made the 20% than they lost it. Like if you bought right here and you watched it go up roughly 30 cents, that's a little bit more than 24 cents for it to go to 20%, right? Like more people actually did that than, the silly ones that we see where it opens up here and like, you know what I'm talking about, right? But this was an interestingly good day on what should have been a very, very bad day. And again, I would have been a little more, I would have been, how do I say this? If it opened up here and then dropped to down here, again, the same 23 gain, right? If it closes at the same place, but I would have expected it to open high, drop low, and more people lose on that day than gain, right? Like what's a good example? This is a beautiful example, right? Like look at this candle on this day. Again, if you look at the percentage right here, right, it changes when I click. This was a 48% gain, right? Because obviously we were down here, boom, $1 billion news, and then we close here, right? 48. The problem is it opens up here at 340 and then loses almost 20%. More people lost a lot of money than they actually made that 48. That was not the case on this. Most people made that entire thing. That's crazy. All right. And I think that justifies why today actually still opened right here and was able to run all the way there. All right. That I think justifies to me that movement. All right. However, where we're at also makes sense. All right, we have a bad candle that loses all 5 moving averages. Hey, red, green. You hear me say it all the time, right? But we could not get back over the moving average. All right. The other thing was, hey, it's kind of funny to me that we actually made it to there. You always hear me say breaking one line is hard, breaking 2 is that much harder. We actually got over this during the day, right? You can see it. We got as high as $2.23, and damn, right? Jesus. But yeah, we get to the lines and then quickly don't. And yeah, makes complete sense. I'm trying to zoom in more, but yeah, we are well under that 200, right? And to me, all that we really saw was, like I said, red, green. I would believe we keep going down because, again, I come from the mentality that a reverse split is bad. Okay, I don't care if it's 1 for 10. I don't care if it's 1 for 2, as low as it can be, right? No, that is the same as 1 for 15, 1 for. Look, again, that's just my opinion, right? Like, but I am expecting this thing to keep coming down. I am. right? Like I'm wildly surprised we got this high. And look, I think a lot of the interesting thing here is the volume's actually still holding. Not only is it still holding, it's got a very, very nice, interesting, and healthy uprise. Like this speaks a lot. Your volume is king, right? Like this speaks a lot to me. However, it's hard to ignore this. And it's actually a little especially hard to ignore the fact that today did not get over the line. All right. Maybe this thing can try to test 190, 191, 192, roughly half of this big candle. I'm not surprised that we go down up to this and then actually come back down. If I was to guess, 136 or 190. I think those are my like 1-2 numbers for tomorrow. Okay. End of the day, I'm telling you, I'm not letting these 2 days, number one, make me optimistic about NVOS itself. Number two, it's not making me think, hey, this was a small reverse split, which might be okay. No. All reverse splits are bad. It's not making me think, oh man, hey, maybe all reverse splits aren't bad. No, they are, right? And again, just my opinion. Sometimes there's exceptions to the rules. Wow, I couldn't say exceptions well. Sometimes there's outliers, and again, I go back to if you could have made the money, I hope you did, right? But don't let an outlier mess up a good trading strategy. All right. After hours isn't actually moving that much, and in some ways it's maybe making me think, hey, it might actually go for 190 again. But yeah, again, 190, 135, 136, 137, something like that. I think those are still my 1-2s for NVOS. Where's the weekly at? Let's look at the weekly one more time. I mean, look, again, I think this weekly is a little bit interesting as well, right? Like we're still trying to we're trying to hold it, right? Like there's nothing else to say. We got over it well. We're back at it essentially. We're obviously a little bit under it, but there's still a couple days left, right? Yeah, it's hard to imagine. Look at that, even on this one, right? I'm basically looking at the top of this, roughly the bottom of that, and yeah, the top of this one's where I clicked, and that's right around that 130, 135 number I was saying, right? I see more bad here. I see a MACD in the weekly that's about to go negative. I see an RSI that's gone down, and this is actually a very, very different story on volume on the daily and the weekly. I don't like that they're actually kind of telling me very different things. Maybe this one is indicative of more immediate, but I like a little more harmony between the two charts that I go back on, right? So yeah, overall, hey, one more time, if you made a run from $1.25 to $1.70, if not even a little higher, I hope you bank that. Like the bank will accept your money if you did, right? But don't let this mess up a strategy. I think that's the big thing to say. So let's come to AVTX. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe, I would appreciate that. Otherwise, let's get into this. So, oof, man, AVTX. The one good thing to say, and it's a little easier to say it, right? We're going away from that line, right? And I'm so glad, because the first bounce wasn't fantastic. We came back really quickly to it before that, right? This one, we came down, never actually touch it, so maybe a little bit stronger than this one. It really kind of seemed like it wanted to come back down, right? Like I saw it, I thought about it. It clearly didn't, right? And if I made the video yesterday, I don't know what I would have said, in all honesty, right? I think I would have probably said, I think I expected to come down here. So though it's only a 3% little baby percent, this is an important candle for sure on so many different levels, and mainly for levels down here that I'll talk about. All three of these are, like green over red, more green than red, right? Like not bad, but each can do a little more, right? The one thing, just before I talk about I want to finish here before I come down, I've been talking about 14 cents, and that's still my case. Look, if you look at the lines over there in the box, 10 cents is the 8, 12 cents is the 20, 13 cents is the 50, right? The 8, the 20, the 50. Give me 14 cents, right? I wish I had more decimals, but like that right there is 14. That is where I would start to feel comfortable. That is where I'll start to believe, okay, maybe we're going to kind of come up to like a little higher 14. the distance between 14, look, little insignificant non-fool cents is still almost 5%, right? If you can gain a penny from this 14 all the way up to 15, that's a quick little more than 10, not more, but close to 10%, right? Pennies are double-digit gains. So for me, I don't really want to gamble, and I'm calling it gambling because, again, it's hard to break lines. It's hard to break the 20 when the 20 is not your friend. It's especially hard because we've talked about the 50, right? We've talked about the 50 for a while, right? So 1 second. Sorry, I got to take that call, actually. Okay, I am back, and we are talking about the 50, right? So again, the 50 has been difficult, right? Try to break it, can't. Try to break it, can't. Get over it, right? But we talked about it, never confirmed. And getting over it, but physically over it, physically over it, physically over it, physically over it. All of these were over. None of these were 2 in a row that made me believe it confirmed, right? So right now, it's really, and again, I wish I had more decimals here, but it's really about that 50 moving average. And I think the closer to 14, and then from there, the deeper to, like, maybe 14 and a half, just roughly, might be a little higher than 4. Yeah, because I look how close that was. Maybe 14, yeah, 14.5, 14.6, if I had to, like, roughly guess those decimals, right? But it's close. Do not assume the 50, all right? Make you believe, all right? Like, now, coming down here, okay, it's better when I zoom in. We're starting to see green over red, green over red. I like it when that happens on both of these lines, right? But again, as I zoom out, this one's barely doing it. This one's actually not too bad. But again, we've been in this, like, up here, down here, up here, because again, we were down here, we come back. That doesn't really show it that well, but look, I think the same way, if we can break that 50 moving average here, it kind of seems like if we can break a 50 RSI, that might make me believe, because yeah, it wasn't that long ago, we were actually up in the 80s, right? When was this? Just on the other side of September, right? So 2 months ain't that bad. Make me believe, all right? Hey, I thought that earnings was supposed to come out early this week. Okay, you know, I don't know the exact dates. I love this two-way street. I give you technicals, you give me fundamentals. I heard a few people saying there was supposed to be either some sort of like call, some sort of earnings release, some sort of something. And I've been looking at headlines and I don't think I've seen anything just yet. So if anything's been missed, please let me know. It happened on Finger Motion, actually. I did miss it. Someone dropped the link. I shared it, right? So let me know. But again, 14 cents has been and remains the big line here, all right? So CDIO, this is gonna be the last one. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe. Otherwise, let's get into it. So the first thing I wanna do is click on dates. So this right here is the first, this right here is Thursday, the 2nd of November, okay? On the 2nd of November, you can see he drops a screenshot, and it is actually not a, man, the Discord is amazing here, right? The free chart readers one, even the MEM, the Make Easy Money, again, you're getting paid basically 20 bucks for all of these different analysts and so many pages and stuff, believe me, right? But CDIO, I'm not a fan of the word squeeze. To me, this is beautiful technical movement, right? I think squeeze might be, yeah, because the volume held, right? Like, just look at it. This is the biggest, literally the 2 biggest days in the history of this stock came in the last couple days, right? So, I mean, I don't call it squeeze. I'll tell you what I call it, all right? I call it a beautiful movement of break the 8, go to the 20, break the 20, go to the 50, break the 50, go to the 100, break the 100, go to the 200. When the lines are spaced this well, when the spacing comes with just red, right? Like it's an amazing thing when the spacing of the lines ties up with some really, really good red. Like, believe me, I hope no one was sitting up here at the sixes and watched it go down, right? Like the red, 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 red is a lot easier to say if you weren't holding it up here, right? But we're here to take advantage of that, right? And oh my gosh, that's what happens, right? And what was good about this second date, right? I think a few things. Number one, hey, I don't know if you watched the NVOS part, but this in my book is a doji. And a doji on a line like the 50 moving average the day after is going to be monstrous. And dude, talk about monstrous, all right? But what I really liked about this Thursday candle, you can see it in the box over there. The third line says the high of the day was 37 cents. The top line says that was the close of the day, all right? On Thursday, people kept buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying, and there's literally not even a low. Like if I had more decimals, I don't think we would still see a wick. Like the entire day, people kept buying and buying, and what did it actually do? You can't see it because again, I wish I had more decimals, but physically, we're over that line. Like we actually were over the line. You can say we were on it, and you know I always say on the line doesn't count, right? But that was a very good day. The doji day after, oh my gosh, right? And then again, with the spacing like that, it makes sense that it's going to do that because again, where was it? This literally happens right there in the red, red, red. Like it just doesn't get much more than that. It just, you know what I mean? So CDIO, I don't call this a squeeze, all right? I call this a really nice technical movement. And look, to me, it makes sense that we get up here, but it seems like I think we're going to stall here. And hey, look, RSI is at 90, right? Like it's not a bad thing necessarily that we stall. Like we've hit it once, we've actually gotten over it, but again, it's been months, right? March is what, 6, a little more than 6. If this, and then is there a line right here before I say it? Interesting. That's kind of a line. I think so, because that's almost a line. Look, if we can get over the 200 moving, oh man, there's still more red, red, red that makes me believe that like, yeah, this actually could come to maybe 340, maybe 250, 260. I do believe this is a pretty hard resistance line. It pretty much lines up with the top of right here. It pretty much lines up with that 200. We're at, sorry, I should not zoom in. Look, this is all BS trading, right? Like there's in literally this random day I clicked, you can see volume is just like no volume, right? As we get good volume, our RSI comes to roughly where our RSI is at right now. This one's only an 84, right? But we get high RSIs and then drop pretty hard. I wouldn't be surprised if we come back to right about here. And look, it's basically lining up with the bottom of this, right? But I can see this coming down to $1.04, 104. I can see this coming down to 75 cents as a worst case. I think $1.04 should actually hold, $2, $1, whatever. I would think if we can hold this, there's a chance we basically go up, we come back, and then we go again, right? So basically come back to that dollar, hopefully up, make me draw another line. Oh, I gotta click it again. And then hopefully go back up, right? Because it also looks like this is kind of still moving up, right? So maybe roughly, and that's being the 8 moving average, right? Maybe that's where it'll kind of land up as it comes down a little bit. So I think that's going to be an interesting point. Hopefully it does that. Obviously, like I said, if we lose that $2, I think it might actually be a really fast fall to 75 right there. And again, going from $1 to 75 is losing a pretty significant double-digit %, right? So I know it only sounds like a little, but it would be a bad thing. But again, to me, this is less of the term squeeze. This is more of a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful technical movement. But more than anything, man, I say it, there are some way better traders than me in the YouTube comments, in the Twitter comments, and for sure in the Discords, all right? So, hey, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Otherwise, as always, thank you.